What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOs.com, and I am sitting here with the devs on H1Z1, the exciting survival MMOs that we're all looking forward to. This is Adam Clegg. He is the...
I am a world designer on H1Z1.
And last time we interviewed with you, you were on PlanetSide too, so you moved over to H1Z1. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, well, it's been a lot of fun. I was requested by one of the other level designers on the team to come over to H1Z1 because they needed some help building out the world, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I really enjoy it. And
there's a lot of, I suppose, correlation between the landscapes of H1Z1 and PlanetSide 2. Being the level designer, you have a lot to do with the way the level is structured. And is there anything special about the way the map is structured on H1Z1? Is it huge? Is it small?
Currently it's the same size as a PlanetSide 2 map, but the way you do the level design is completely different. It's a completely different school of thought. In PlanetSide, it was all about PvP balance and game balance and where you're putting strategic crates and buildings, where H1Z1, it's all about making it look like it's real, making it look like the apocalypse just happened and somebody came to this house and destroyed everything, or telling stories and every single thing that you build. Less about gameplay balance of, if I put a church here, how is it affecting the building across the street? Because really, it's not like that. In the apocalypse, it's trying to be like real life. There are going to be situations where you are outmanned or it's not fair because he has a higher edge than you do, so it's very different.
And the game is all about crafting different items and things like that. And in the presentation, you were mentioning how it's sort of an achievement system in order to get all these different recipes you can get to. And so the game is a hardcore game, but that's something you can take away with you. And maybe you can expand upon that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Tom here is our technical director, and he can probably tell you a little bit about that.
About the recipe system?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we got the system in there now that you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what you can craft using the discovery system, and so you spend time figuring out, put this sticks together with this, make that, make an arrow, make a bow, make a trap, or something like that. So we want to think that's kind of persistent with you. It's something you spend a lot of time on, and that's kind of what we decided to keep the persistence on right now.
Interesting. Is there any really obscure things you can craft yet in the game?
We've got some pretty obscure things, but I don't know we want to talk about them specifically. We've got some different kinds of bombs we've made, and we've got a couple of traps like bear traps and stuff, and animal traps, but nothing too crazy. No crazy machines.
There's actually currently over 100 recipes in the game right now, and so most of the fun is for players is going to be figuring out all of those recipes. And if you look at our flowchart of recipes, it's just out of control, and it's a lot of fun trying to figure out what you can make. And what he was talking about earlier, Tom was talking about like explosions and things. Like you can craft a landmine in the game and place it down and have it explode. While that's harder to craft than, let's say, a stick trap, it's still something that's really cool that you can craft, and there's a lot of variability in between the recipes.
And I take it the recipes are layered, so maybe if you want to craft a baseball bat, or, well, you wouldn't craft a you might find one, but you could add to the baseball bat, making it more, we have survival games that have that feature as well. What about, players are able to create structures, like their own houses and things like that, and maybe we can talk about that, and with that, is it at all possible to create communities where you have barricades and traps and things around to try to deter the AI?
Oh, for sure. There's two ways of housing in our game, two versions of housing. There is the player that goes to a house or a town or an apartment building and they barricade the house themselves, or they craft a structure, place it on the ground, and then craft things on the structure and do it that way. One is harder than the other, obviously, but they're both very different, and they're both very community-driven. So I'm very interested to see what kind of things people make, the structures they enclose. I'm excited to see somebody take over the entire town on a server, and it's their town now. Now, that'll be hard to keep up. I'm sure it'll get overrun by other players, but I'm excited to see what they do with things like that.
It'll be led by a character named the Governor.
The Governor? Is that going to be you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's going to be called Woodbury.
Okay.
Take a town over that they think is really neat, with some really cool apartment buildings and everything else, and board that up and make that their town as well. And then someone else can sit outside and siege them. And so that's also fun, right?
Absolutely. And you're trying to actually encourage that sort of environment where I guess so you'll have multiple servers set up is actually what you're trying to do, and each server is going to have different rules set. And how is that governed? How is that coming about?
That's a
Well,
good question.
it's partly governed by the players, right? We've set up the system. We've talked about this, and actually posted on Reddit in detail about the rules involved. But it's basically the players will get a token they can use to vote, and say, I would like these rules. And then the most popular ones get selected, and we put those in as long as we can do those, and then we give those tokens back to the players. They can vote again. The idea being that the players really have an idea of what they want to play. We have to be kind of the gate, because some things people want aren't necessarily possible. But as long as we can do it, we'd like to put it in, absolutely.
And also, even though we'll have different server rule sets, each server that has the same server rule set is going to feel very different, because you have completely different personalities and player types on each server, which gives each server its own personality. We're definitely a full sandbox game. We're trying to make an ultimate survivor experience in a sandbox world where you can have, you know, maybe this server they've decided deer meat is a currency, and on this server it's nails. You know, every server is going to feel a lot different, so it's going to be really cool.
Makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about structure in terms of the environmental structure. You're going to have to survive by eating and things like that. Is that an element in the game as well? We didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, we have a full body simulator in the game, which means that you have hunger, you have thirst, you can get cold, you can get a H1Z1 virus. We're talking about getting illnesses also on top of getting a virus, so you can get a cold or get sick if you get too cold. And it's all tied back into the health, basically your health points. And so if you run out of energy, it drains your food. You run out of food, it drains your health. You know, if you run out of hydration, it drains your health. And when you run out of health, you die. So that's basically the body simulator in a nutshell.
And so you're having to hunt animals and things like that. And animals will hunt you, too. Everything kills you in this game, huh?
Yeah, the only thing that really doesn't kill you right now are bunnies. So.
and
We can arrange that.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, can you make that happen?
Make that happen.
All right, so I've got actually one more question for you. So as a free-to-play game, what makes you stand apart from some of the other survival MMOs and games that are coming out?
I think a big one is that we're an MMO. And a lot of people don't really understand what that means until they've played an MMO. And anybody that has gets it, right? But being an MMO, we have our own servers that we host. They're anti-hacking in the servers. They're stable. We also have a much massive, larger world with more players on the server being an MMO. So I think that's a huge key to our survival game. And it's also, we love the other survival games in the genre, and we're trying to stand on the shoulders of giants, right? We're trying to create our own version of a survival game, and hopefully we create something that's very unique.
Well, in the state of the game right now, it's actually really impressive looking. When can we start seeing early access?
We don't have a date yet. We actually just had a status meeting on a few days ago, and it was really close. And it's I hate to say that as a developer. I wish people could be in the game right now, but every week we have the status meeting, and it gets closer and closer and closer and closer. So it's.
We can't wait. Awesome. Thank you for your time.